praising the Almighty God, Allah, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I stand honor in my thoughts, my words, and my deeds to the last true and divine prophet in these days and time, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, hyphenated Jesus of Nazareth, in these days and times. I stand honor to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, hyphenated Jesus of Nazareth, forerunner that came and warned the nation and prepared you to receive the lessons of who you were. The Honorable Marcus Mosiah Aurelius Garvey Ali. I stand honor to the Moorish Science Temple of America. I stand honor to everyone that's on this board. This is the second segment of what it is that I want to convey to you. I understand that it is going to be lengthy. There are going to be a number of segments because there's just too much information, too much knowledge, too much wisdom that's on this wall that need to be accounted for. There's too many answers to the questions that we have pertaining to the Moorish, Moroccan descent, born in America, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and Jamaican, West Indies, British West Indies born forerunner Marcus Garvey. But we're going to start with our Creator. We're going to start with the question of whom do we refer to at times as being the great God? Of course, the answer is Allah. And this all-seeing eye is the providence, the eye of providence of Allah. The eye that saw through over 10,000 years our people being in the condition that they were. And He brought us into a holy land. By the hand of this man here. Now what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about the providence of Allah. The eye of providence. And hopefully you'll come to understand how the eye of providence or how Allah's providence work in answering some of the questions we may not fully understand pertaining to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, us, the uplifting us as a people, the Honorable Marcus Garvey, even Deuce Muhammad Ali, and there are others on this board that hopefully you will understand. I'm going to read from the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. I'm in the chapter Religion. And it reads, the providence of Allah is ever all His works. Allah ruleth and directeth in infinite wisdom. Allah has instituted laws for the government of the world. Allah has instituted laws for the government of the world. Allah has instituted laws for the government of the world. Allah has wonderfully varied them in all beings, and each by his nature conformeth to Allah's will, and each by his nature conformeth to Allah's will. In the depths of his mind, Allah revolves all knowledge. In the depths of his mind, Allah revolves all knowledge. The secrets of futuristic lies open before him. The secrets of the future, the secret of what is going to take place in the future, lies open before Allah. And this is something you young, good-hearted, clean, moral Moors that have kept your hearts and minds pure with love and your bodies clean with more, you need to know that, you need to know of the providence of Allah. You need to know that Allah, no matter what you go through in trying to govern, trying to teach, trying to help out people, that Allah, that the providence of Allah will see you through. And so this man through, and we're going to talk a little bit about him, because he's not getting the respect that is due him. Because had not it been this man, the 16th president of the United States, our people would still be in bondage or just getting out of bondage, slavery. 15 presidents before this man, 91 years before this man right here, no one raised a hand to liberate us from slavery. President Abraham Lincoln trusted in the providence of Allah. And if you will read his March the 5th, his second inaugural address, March the 5th, 1865, you will see that he trusts in the providence of Allah, in Allah's guidance. When this man right here, President Abraham Lincoln, came into office, the country was divided. Congressmen were fighting and killing themselves, each other. Senators were killing each others. Governors were fighting and killing each others. The country was divided between the North and the South, between pro-slavery Democrats and anti-slavery Republicans. And in regards to the Asiatics, in 1857, this man came into office when the Chief Justice Roger B. Taney of the Supreme Court ruled that you as a black man, as a nigger, has no rights or principle that a citizen or anyone else was bound to respect. This man came into office under all of this. And we don't give him his respect, his due. And had not he did what he did, emancipate the Moors, liberate the Moors, redeem the Moors, cut the shackles of slavery off the Moors, this man would not have been able to do the work that he did. Because you and I would still be in slavery or fighting to get out. No other president before him, no other president since him has done anything to help us. President Abraham Lincoln a Republican. And when Allah sent him to do the work, he didn't send him alone. And the Europeans have always been scared of this right here. Let me put that in early. They have been scared, frightened, afraid of what you're looking at right now. Asiatics with guns, Asiatics that can think, Asiatics that were not going to be subject to being slaves. And the Honorable Marcus Garvey resurrected them in 1914. Resurrected that same spirit. And I'm going to tell you why in a few moments. Resurrected that same spirit. Moors that were going to fight for their freedom. So we got to honor this man, and I'm going to say a lot more things about him. When he came into the office of presidency, he came into a divided country. The government was full of traitors to their vows, to their loyalty, to their oaths of office. In every department, he had no relief. His own generals on the field, battlefield, when trying to free you, were making laws and enforcing laws in the battlefield that he knew nothing of. That's the office that this man came into power with, the problems that he had when he came into office. And yet we don't love this man, we don't respect this man. The man that emancipated the Moors. Because you were considered chattel, property, slaves, beasts of burden. This man did not see us in that way. He saw us as what that book right there told him we were. And that is humans, Moors. And so much evidence by this man coming to teach. The thoughts of thy heart are naked to Allah's view. He knoweth thy determination before they are made. With respect to his prescience, there is nothing contingent. With respect to Allah's providence, there is nothing more, there is nothing accidental. Let me read that again. With respect to Allah's providence, there is nothing accidental. Wonderful Allah is in all his ways. His counsels are inscrutable. The manner of Allah's knowledge transcendeth thy conception. Pay therefore to Allah's wisdom all honor and veneration, and bow down thyself in humble and submissive obedience to Allah's supreme discretion. I'm talking about the providence of Allah. I'm talking about the work of that our providence in all of our records. We see it all the time, and we don't realize it. And again, you Moors that are keeping your hearts and minds pure with love and your bodies clean with water, trust in this, in Allah. Trust in things that you cannot see. Keep going up the road in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Not in slander, hatred, lewdness, murder, theft, but in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And your destiny will be met. the providence of Allah, the guidance of Allah, the guidance that this man had, the providence of Allah. Moroccan descent, American-born prophet, Jamaican, British, West Indian-born forerunner. And we're going to talk a lot more about this combination. Deuce Muhammad Ali. We don't speak nothing of this man. An Egyptian. We said in his schools, we talk about him in our record, but we give him no recognition at all, none. But he gave Marcus Garvey his Shahada. And as he gave Marcus Garvey his Shahada, Marcus Garvey went on to do the work. A lawmaker. A scholar of the law. European, American laws. Commander, sword undrawn, but yet in hand. The works of Marcus Garvey. To resurrect the spirits of those back in 1865. I think it was just 1965 to 1914 or so. Just a mere generation or so. So he resurrected them spirits. They're people that were willing, able, and were going to fight for their freedom. The work of Marcus Garvey. The work of Marcus Garvey with his generals. All this is in the 1920s. With all these wonderful things going on, can you imagine what the Cyclops, the dragon, the beast, Lucifer, can you imagine what they were doing? Well, I'll tell you in part what they were doing. Ku Klux Klan, KKK, in Washington, D.C. in 1925. They saw the Prophet Noble Drew Ali traveling throughout the land, raising the Asian ads and make them think that they were somebody. When Prophet Noble Drew Ali came and took them beyond the description of being black, as Marcus Garvey had taught, when he took them beyond the description of being Negroes that Marcus Garvey had taught, they understood. And as a result, the KKK marched in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, where some years before, in 1913, Woodrow Wilson had shown the birth of a nation, the rise of the Ku Klux Klan in America. So to keep us in check, to put the Negroes, the niggers back in check, they want to let us know that we had no power, nowhere, no one to protect, nowhere to go. That's what this parade was all about, August 8th, 1925. Scaring the Negroes, scaring the niggers. I hate saying that word nigger, but I'm gonna say it just so it'll hit home. The cross, the symbol of crucifixion, symbol of death. In this particular instance, it's a symbol of a sword. Frightening Negroes. And this building right here is there right today. Right this very moment. This building is right there, and it's run by the, I think it was Negro Women League of America, something to that effect. They hadn't got in the building yet, but they inhabited it. They got it later. I think it was 34, 35, somewhere along in there. Building is still there. All the other buildings, they done tore down around it, but that one is still there. The KKK in all its glory, 30,000 strong, come to intimidate the nigger, to let the nigger know that he has no protection from white, means purity, means the ruler of the land. And they're right there in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. And they have been formulating this group right here since 1913, when President Woodrow Wilson filmed The Birth of a Nation in the Capitol. They have been formulating. This is how they come out to be so precise, so precision. Because when they found out that this man right here was touring America, they had to do some things. And you know what they did to Tulsa, Oklahoma. You know what they did in about 10 or 15 states. Rosewood, Missouri, Florida, Chicago, back during the 1920s. All to stop this man. But it didn't work. Because in 1925, just a few months later, after August the 8th, December the 19th of the same year, in the eastern skies, the Star and Crescent appeared. Where the record reflects, let there be light. And that light is the light of Islam, the Star and Crescent, the symbol of our salvation. Because we were getting weak in the knees. Because we saw this, and this, and this. And we remember how Jesus came and they crucified him. They remember how just a few years later they were carrying Marcus Garvey through crucifixion. But they didn't stop anything. They didn't stop the divine providence of Allah. Because this man believed in what he was doing. He knew that he was the last true and divine prophet in these days and time. He knew that Marcus Garvey was his forerunner. He knew that he had to teach the everlasting gospel. Because if he hadn't taught it, there wouldn't have been nobody else to teach it. And if he hadn't set us free, his job would have been just that much more harder. And in 1928, October 1928, the holy sacred month of October, the scepter did depart from Judah, a lawgiver from between his feet, and unto him was the gathering of the people. The prophet Noble Drew Ali. And Marcus Garvey was there to witness the work that he had done. And there were two other wise men with him. Charles Drew, Dr. Charles Drew, and Congressman Oscar DePriest. The three wise men that came to bear witness to the birth of our nation of people. There's so much more that I want to say, but I praise Almighty God a lot of what I have said. You come to understand. And what you do not understand, I pray to Allah that you ask. Do not assume. Ask. And I'll be more than happy to explain the providence of Allah, the eye of providence. No accident. None of this is an accident. None of this just happened. It is by the law of Allah that all of these things came together the way that they did. And this man right here, not educated, according to the European, but it was amazing how he was able to learn. His mind was so open. Didn't come from the rich, the wealthy, but he had to fight them, tooth and nail. And when Allah sent him that holy midriff, that holy 10,000, and Marcus Garvey resurrected, saw him reincarnate again, it scared the European that he had to put this demonstration down to frighten the poor nigger that was scared of his own shadow. And we were scared of our own shadow. The eye of providence. This is the same eye that's over the dollar bill. The eye of providence. We look at these things, we think we know, we don't inquire. Be sure to check out Lincoln's second inaugural address, March the 8th, I think it is, or the 5th or the 8th, 1865, where he talks about the providence of Allah, that he trusted in the providence of Allah. He trusted in Allah. He said that he could see the providence of Allah allowed him to trace the finger of Allah in the courses that he had to undertake and the things he had to do. He saw what it was he had to do. And the man gave his life for you, for you. He gave his life, no matter what, who, when, where. You would not be out of bondage if it wasn't for this president. And you that are fighting on the Confederate side, woe unto thee. Woe unto thee. So with that, Moors, I pray that I give you some enlightenment, and there will be a third presentation of the Moorish, Moorish national events in America, that I pray to Allah that we cross some of the T's and dot some of the I's, answer some questions, and ask some questions pertaining to this great knowledge, this Moorish sign that Allah has given to us to give to the world to help us. Again, this is in honor of Marcus Moses Aurelius Garvey Ali. May Allah bless us all in our love to each other. Study, think, reason. The actions of the soul. good, clean Moors that are keeping their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Wow, can you imagine? Be loyal, Moors, to the Prophet Noble Drali, to Moorish signs, to your Grand Sheikh, that is a Grand Sheikh, that keep his heart and mind pure with love and his body clean with water, that teaches love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, that teaches us to obey the laws of the Prophet, because our job is to uplift our people, no matter what condition they are in. That's our duty. And as Jesus said when he was 12 years old, he told his parents, do you not know I must be about my Father's work? And then he picked up those tools that would require him to do his Father's work. Well, I just love looking at this stuff. That's all. I got so much to say about all of it. So much. When this man right here, when them people tried to send him to jail or did send him to jail, his people came over to the Prophet Noble Drali, to the Moorish Science Temple of America. The strong ones, that is. I mean, Moors, you got to see that as a blessing. He put down the same degrees that John the Baptist put down. Sent his people over to the Moorish Science Temple of America, to Jesus. And can't say enough about this man right here. And one day we're going to say more. Marcus Garvey with affairs on. The Star Crescent appearing in Chicago, Illinois, in the eastern sky. The holy month of October, where the Prophet held the first annual convention. On October the 17th of that year, during that convention, he said the nationality, we got our nationality on that day, a day we should be honoring. October, the month of October, we should be honoring, because that's our birth date of our nationality, October. Peace and love, Moors. I'll be doing the third segment very shortly. Peace.